When My Name Was Kyoko by Linda Sui Park. I went around whispering over and over, Kyoko, Kaneyama Keoko, Kyoko. I could think of Kaneyama Keoko as a name, but not as my name. When her name was Kyoko, Japan owned Korea. When her name was Kyoko, Japanese soldiers ordered people around telling them what they could do or say, even what sort of flowers they could grow. When her name was Kyoko, World War II came to Korea, and her friends and relatives had to work and fight for Japan. When her name was Kyoko, she never forgot that her name was actually Kim Sun Hee, and no matter what she was called, she was Korean, not Japanese. Genre historical fiction. Theme how a nation, a family, and individuals must respond to crisis and oppression in various forms of resistance. Location Japan occupied Korea. Time period The book begins in 1940, the World War II. The book alternates between the point of view of Kim Sun-hee, aka Kaneyama Keoko, and her elder brother Kim Tae-yul, aka Kaneyama Nobu. The book is set in 1940 Korea, which Japan has captured because of territorial advantages. The northern border was near Manchuria. Regularly, most of the belongings and the food were taken from the Korean households to, for the, to the emperor under the pretext of providing them to the soldiers. Korean students and Japanese students had different classrooms and sometimes schools. Koreans were taught Japanese history, Japanese culture, and Japanese language. Korean culture, language, history were banned. The book starts with the arrival of a new law. All Koreans are to take Japanese names. After careful consideration and much resilience on their uncle's part, their father hides their original names into their new one. Since Sunhee is the youngest in the family and a girl, she is not allowed to listen to anything discussed by the men of the family. She uses stealth to listen to most of their discussions. Kyoko and Nobu's school life also suffers since without time to learn their classmates' new names, they are punished for their mistakes. Sunny excels at Japanese writing, especially at kanji. This is because she is the best friend of a Japanese boy named Tomo since childhood. She is named the class leader but gets called General Pa or Love of Japan by her schoolmates, an offensive term for any Korean. After months of hard work, Tayul and his uncle are able to make a bicycle for Tayul, but it gets stolen by two Japanese soldiers. Kyoko's mother defies the law as she continues to grow a Sharon tree in secret. Sunhee and Tayul decide to spy on their uncle after hearing snippets of a disturbing conversation and a drastic change in his behavior. Sunhee makes a new friend, Shin. The Japanese attacked America. Sunhee tries to play with Tomo and his friends, but they want to kill all the Americans. Tayul develops a fascination with planes. After her neighbor, old Mrs. An, is unable to count to 10 in Japanese, she is beaten by a Japanese officer. To prevent an incident like this in the future, Sunhee teaches her to count. Tayul's school get rubber balls when the emperor wins a battle. Tomo tries to warn Kyoko about something through code that she interprets as her uncle in danger. He goes into hiding and Tayul tells Sunny that their uncle works for the Resilience, a movement against the Japanese by the Koreans, which is illegal. But afterwards, she discovers that Tomo was trying to tell her that the Japanese will collect metal so they could hide some valuables from them. An airstrip will be formed for the planes to land. Taiyul volunteers to help with the work, missing his studies. Leaflets fall from the sky which say that the Americans are not the enemies of the Koreans but are trying to help them. Sunny starts a diary for her uncle to read when he returns. In 1944, all classes were stopped and the days were spent preparing for war. Sunny discovers that her friend Junction is from a family of Chinalpa. The soldiers enter their house in the middle of the night and conduct a search for prisoners' writings, discover Sunny's diary, and burn it. A special attack unit, or kamikaze, is formed. This includes a line of soldiers. The first line, or the Koreans, sacrifice their lives. Taeyul develops an obsession with them. He enlists to join the army so that their families could get better and more food. They, he tells Sunny that he will write letters with secret messages because they will be checked by the Japanese army and she will have to decode the messages. In Tayo's second letter, she discovers that he is being enlisted as a kamikaze. She informs her father about the same, but before anything could be done, he flies the mission. Less than 2 months after Tayo's death, the Americans win the war and Korea is freed. Tomo leaves for Tokyo, Japan. A month after the victory, are delivered a letter from Mrs. Lim, the head of the Resilience. They discover Uncle is still alive and on his way. In the end, they discover that old Mrs. Ahn helped him escape. Sunny discovers that their father writes articles for her uncle's illegal Resilience newspaper in secret. Tayo returns home. It is discovered that because of bad weather, the mission failed, although Tayo had a plan to help Korea. They were kept in jail until the surrender. Tayo shows disrespect to their father for doing nothing while the Japanese controlled Korea. Sunny informs him of the articles. Tayo decides to be a printer like their uncle, while Sunny decides to be a scholar like their father and grandfather. The book ends with Sunny teaching Korean language or Hangul to Tayo.